We'll check back with Mike in a little bit. Well, listen to this. The president also coming under fire for his comments Friday, what appeared to be an official endorsement for the mosque at Ground Zero. But fewer than 24 hours later, the president seemed to dial that back a bit.
In this country, we treat everybody equally in accordance with the law, regardless of race, regardless of religion. I was not commenting, and I will not comment on the wisdom of making a decision to put a mosque there. I was commenting very specifically on the right that people have that dates back to our founding.
Congressman Peter King is the ranking member of the House Homeland Security Committee. He has been very vocal about this. Good morning to you, Congressman. Thank you for being here.
Good morning.
What are your thoughts now on the president's comments as he didn't back down, but he did clarify his position on the building of Park 51, which we know is the Ground Zero Mosque? How do you feel about where he is now?
I think the president's trying to have it both ways, because on Friday night when he said that there's a right of religion, everyone agrees with that. That was never an issue. The whole issue was whether or not the mosque should be built at Ground Zero, whether or not the Muslim leadership has not just the right, but the responsibility to realize the tremendous harm that they're causing. And if the president is going to raise this issue, as he did on Friday night, it's not enough to only address half the issue and talk about the right, which everyone agrees on, but he also should have then begun a dialogue, make it a teachable moment, and said that the Muslim leadership should move the mosque away from Ground Zero if they are really interested in building bridges and bringing harmony between and among different religions.
Others have called on President Obama to work with Governor David Paterson here in New York. Governor David Paterson has said that he would, in fact, try to find state land available for this mosque if they were willing to move it. Should the president reach out to Governor David Paterson and try to do something along those lines, or stay out of it altogether?
Well, if the president's going to get involved, he should put everything on the table. He shouldn't do what he did on Friday night and just make half a statement, which really was not even relevant because nobody was questioning the right to build a mosque. It's a question of where it should be. And, yes, I think Governor Paterson did the right thing in proposing an alternate location. If the president wants to get involved, fine. But I think the real burden here is on the Muslim leadership and on the imam at Ground Zero. The fact is they want to build a World Trade Center mosque. It does not belong there. And while they have the right to do it, they have the responsibility to realize the tremendous harm and hurt that they are causing to so many people. I mean, I'm getting calls from so many families in my district who lost family members: Jimmy Boyle, Ernie Strada, Rosemary Kane. I can go through the list. Frank Haskell. I mean, these people lost very, very close family members. And this imam, who I don't believe is as moderate as people say he is, I mean, the fact is he said the U.S. was an accessory to 9/11. He refuses to say whether Hamas is a terrorist group. And now the State Department is paying his way around the Middle East. No, I think the president was wrong on Friday night to bring the issue up and then just raise half the issue and give the wrong impression. And he knew what he was doing.
That imam, of course, now on a U.S. State Department-sponsored trip to the Middle East. But back to the president. Conservatives,
Sure.
Republicans, Tea Party activists more than ever want less government intrusiveness, smaller government. So is that, in this climate or any, a time for the federal government, for the president to weigh in on this at all? Do you really want the federal government having anything to do with this whatsoever?
I think the president of the United States always has the right to speak out on moral issues. I don't see any legal power that the president has at all, excuse me, as far as dealing with the mosque at Ground Zero. He has no legal power. The president always has moral authority. And if the president wants to discuss this in an intelligent, teachable moment type way, then I think, yes, it does serve a purpose for the president to do that. But other than that, for him to say where it should be or not be or try to impose that, no. But he does have the right, I believe, as a moral leader in the country, as every president does, going back to what Teddy Roosevelt said, with the president having a bully pulpit.
Now, if President George W. Bush, final question for you, you went to great lengths to try to mend the relationship between Muslim Americans after 9/11. If President George W. Bush were in power right now, would he be reaching out and telling this group where to move this mosque?
I don't believe the president would have gotten involved in that, President Bush. But again, President Bush did reach out to the Muslim community. Unfortunately, too many leaders in the Muslim community did not reciprocate. President Bush, as all of us believe, that the overwhelming majority of Muslims are outstanding Americans. But the Muslim leadership, in too many instances, specifically here in the case of the World Trade Center Mosque, seems more intent on making a point than it does in really trying to build bridges to other religions and ethnic groups.
Well, a large percentage of our audience agrees with you in a recent Fox News poll. Representative Peter King, always great to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you.